Yes. Tonight we welcome the Sensei to the Boom Bap Chat. I think we should go ahead and get it started. So let's do that. I am MC Till. Welcome to the Boom Bap Chat number 107, 107. You do not see Profound on the screen tonight. Our co-host Profound is off with his family. It's his son's birthday. So happy birthday to little Pro out there. Have a good time. We'll see Profound in 2 weeks. But you do see Iomas Murad on the screen. How you doing, Iomas?
I'm good, brother.
I'm doing good. And for those out there, we're having some technical difficulties with Iomas's setup. So he might be writing in his questions and commentary, and I'll just be reading those out a little bit. But it's good to have you here, Iomas. Before we welcome our guest tonight, I do want to give a special shout out to Everybody's Records here in Cincinnati, Ohio. If you come visit, if you're in the city, go see them. They have a great selection of vinyl. They have tapes, CDs, books. They have all kinds of great stuff. And they're always supporting the local scene, the local hip hop scene. And if you can't get here, you can check them out and support them online at everybody'srecords.com. All right. If you're watching tonight, you're tuning in live. You see the man tonight. He doesn't need an introduction. I couldn't do it justice, but I'll try. Our guest tonight is a lyrical legend. He jumped on the scene with the group Artifacts, gave us 2 incredible albums in the 90s. And our guest went on to release several consistently dope boom bap hip hop albums throughout his career. And he's not finished, just getting started in some ways. And he is hip hop through and through, not just as an MC. He has beginnings in DJing and graffiti. And he's releasing another Artifacts album produced by DITC member Buckwild. Oh, so excited about that. So anyway, we're going to get into all of that and more right now. So please join me as we welcome to the Boom Bap Chat, the Sensei.
Peace.
Yeah.
What up?
Yeah. Hey, welcome, man. How are you?
Hey, man. Thank y'all for having me, man. I'm good, man. I'm dealing with this heat the best way possible. I'm keeping hydrated, drinking water.
Yeah, man.
And it's a good Thursday night. Good Thursday night.
All right. Now you started off your journey in Newark, New Jersey, right?
Yes, indeed. Born and bred.
Are you in Jersey now?
Yes, I am. I'm in East Orange, New Jersey right now.
So one of the things I wanted to ask you about, I wanted to start with is, there's a lot, I wouldn't say a lot, but there are some MCs, from that early 90s era that are still around, still making good music. Not a lot, but there are some. But then, I think you are just from even a different class of that group where, I can't remember a song or an album from you where it's he's trying to appeal to somebody. It is almost a gimmick. Other artists have tried that, but I feel like you remain pure underground sound, boom bap, hip hop. And that's how I've always kind of perceived you. Do you perceive yourself in that way?
Yes, I do. And I'm very, very proud of it. There's a lot of stigmas that come with being an underground artist. A lot of people are afraid to be that and actually wear it on their chest, especially today. Sometimes I feel like it's something against us as underground artists, whereas that people think because we make the choices we make to be pure, to be an artist of the caliber you want to be, of what you wanted to be from the beginning, that shouldn't change in your journey as an artist. Now, for me, almost 30 years in it, it made me want to do it more because today is not practiced as much as you should see it in the mainstream or in general, so cats from my era kind of slowed down because a lot of us have not gotten, say, the just due that they feel they deserve. And being an underground artist, so I always call it to stick to your guns. Keep using the same guns you've been using, but advance them. You know what I'm saying? Make them bigger, use different bullets. Is ways to survive being an underground artist, even in the climate today. And I don't want to mess up and keep going because I might mess up some of your other questions, but
no, you're good.
I wear that on my sleeve because there's not enough of us, putting that out there. People think you got to have a certain standard of living to be successful, even being an underground artist, because, it's always for us being pure means sacrifice.
Yeah.
Not really, not really.
Huh.
It's just which lane you want to be in.
Yeah.
You know, as far as being an underground artist in today's climate is not so much different than it's in the past. It's just that we don't have labels anymore to kind of pacify and hold people's hands. Where and today you need to just go pull the bull at the horns and go ahead and do what you got to do.
Yeah, yeah, so true, man. I like, yeah, and that's what Ioma said. True, so true. So I'm curious to know, like, what do you think it was about, maybe your upbringing or maybe your inspiration, your influences that, for you, like, put you to that, like, brought you to that place where you want to be true to yourself and authentic. What do you think, like, really helped inform you to be that type of person?
I would say upbringing. You know, my parents, I won't say was strict on me, but they made sure we understood right from wrong to consequences and making those decisions. You know, so like for me, I would say the people I listened to growing up, you know,
Hmm.
Big Daddy Kane, Rakim, anybody from my era are gonna say all of these MCs of my age range. You know what I'm saying? So,
Right. Yeah.
but these artists influence you to want to be great. So when you talk about, you know, lyricism and Big Daddy Kane, Rakim, Coogee rap, you get all of that, but then you also have I have Chuck D. Chuck
Yeah.
D was a messenger with a voice
Yeah.
that attracted me to where I was like, damn, you know, I can't to get your point across. You have to have a strong voice as well. Guru said the thing. It's
Yeah.
mostly the voice that gets you up. So
Right.
you kind of like gravitate to a certain KRS-One, LL Cool J, Ultramagnetic, Special Ed, Chubb Rock. All these people inside of me were my teachers. So like when we finally got the opportunity to make records, we instilled that in us to say like we're going to make records just like they did too, and we're not going to fail the listener or the fan in that journey of trying to be exclusive with the music so much so that we knew, just like being an EPMD fan, you waited for them to come with those records
Yeah.
because you knew business was going to be in the title. So every time you thought like, all right, what they're going to put in the business in this one, how it's going to come. So you those things as a fan and as a listener, and then becoming an artist, you take all that in and say like, yo, I want to be perceived in that way too by listeners and by fans because we got in it to be heroes. A lot of artists won't tell you that, but we all got in it because we got the bug from the leaders that was before us, and we wanted to put our 2 cents in too,
Yeah.
and at the same time achieve your goals.
Hey, that's dope. And just, to push it forward, like you were an MC like that for me, because I remember the ultimate. Man, did I love that song. I
Thank
love
you,
that. And
thank
I
you.
remember seeing, I think it was probably Rap City, and I was just like, just from the beat, the way the beat was and just the lyrics. And yeah, Ioma said me too. So like you were one of those MCs for me, like Kane was for you, so thank you for that. Thank you for your
I
inspiration.
appreciate that because I feel like that's the job of all of us as
Yeah.
MCs. That's what I learned from the ones before me, and then to get in it and meet these people, you know, and see them in person. You try not to fan out, but you can't help it. You know, this is why you got in it because you wanted to be like your heroes before you.
Yeah, no doubt. And Ioma said, I learned so much from L and Tame One. And our co-host who's usually with us, he chimed in. He's listening on Facebook. He said, facts. L, that's truth right there. So yeah, yeah. So I want to get into a little bit of a discussion. We'll get into the new music that you have coming out here in a moment.
Okay.
But I think these two albums, I want to show our folks that are watching here, Between a Rock and a Hard Place here, Artifacts, and then
Mhm.
That's Them. I
Right.
was wondering if you could tell us, if you could just like go back in time. Do you remember the recording process of these albums, and
Everything.
and,
I
and
remember
how
everything.
how were they different? The recording
Okay.
processes for these.
First album, it was like we didn't know, you know, what we was getting into, but we
Right.
had an idea in our head. We thought like, okay, we're gonna get some Pete Rock beats, Primo beats, Large Professor beats, and they just, you know, that's in your dreams. So
Right.
in reality set it, and they was like, okay, y'all got money for like T Ray and who's working with this group here, and which was Double X Posse and Sean J. Period's group called Down South. So we was like, okay. And I knew of T-Ray from working with Cypress Hill, and he was working with a group called Helmet, a metal, heavy metal group. So, but I heard of him, T-Ray, and he had a group himself. So then I asked, okay, well, what about the dude that did the song with Diamond, Sadat, and Lil Finesse? So he's like, oh, you talking about Buckwild? I was like, yeah, let's get him. Because the Can't Front song was out. So that shit was banging in the streets on Stretch and Bobbito's show. So I was like, let's get him. So, once we got, Redman found out we had the deal. So I saw him on the street. He picked me up in his Land Cruiser, and he was like, yo, come on, like, I want to play a beat for you. So all this stuff started happening. And as we were going in the studio, T-Ray did majority of the music. So we was at his house a lot. And he lived in Brooklyn at the time. And we would go out there and pre-production wise, like, go through his records. A lot of the songs that T-Ray recorded and produced for us, we were there with him, where, like, say, Dynamite Soul, What's Up Now, Motherfucker. We was all in, we did these things together with him, but he manipulated everything. So it was like, we were like babies going in the studio. Like, we've been to studios before. When we got in that big ass studio, we was like, damn, wow, okay, this is different. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I think once we calmed down and got into doing the songs, I would say a lot of the songs we had demo. Heavy Ammunition was a demo that we had recorded. Attack of New Jerusalem was a demo, but we had that on a different beat, and Buckwild gave us the beat for that track. We just did the lyrics over that from an older song we had. So, like, songs like Way Back, that was probably the hardest song to do on the album, because we had so much elements in it and we wanted to make it right. All the samples we had at the end. That record was fun, but we learned a lot of things that we probably was not supposed to do. But we was babies, man. I remember even after recording the record, and we had to go out on the streets and go do promo and do showcases. I remember we did a show at this place called the Grand in New York, and we talking about not having the show polish. We was doing songs on stage where, like, when the beat would fade out, and people was like, "That's all right, do the next one, do the next one." So, like, even recording the record, it was like that. You know what I'm saying? But when we got to the second album, I'm gonna say this too. It was hard to try to top the first album.
Right.
Anybody can tell you on the sophomore album it's hard to top the first one.
Right.
But we weren't trying to top the first one. We listened to the first one, was like, let's leave that one like the way it is, and let's move on and go to another sound. Because as you can see, from 94 to 95, 96, the sound started changing.
Right.
And, Sean J. Period was in the studio with us a lot when we were doing the first album. So when he found out when we were doing the next one, we the first couple of songs we did, The Interview was the first song we recorded on the That's Them album. And we had no idea for a hook and nothing like that. We just started writing because we were back in the studio. All right, let's go. We had no ideas in the beginning. We were just like, but the songs came out good. And then once we got focused and Sean J. Period came, VIC did the interview, and he did another joint. God, it's escaping me right now. I'm sorry, but This Is the Way. So, like, then we added the Beat Miners. Beat Miners, we knew them, so we always wanted that Brooklyn sound. Got the Beat Miners, in which we got Beat Miners and Baby Paul, who was in the group, in their crew. So the second album, we was ready to go. So I would say all of the songs we recorded with Sean J. Period, we recorded in 2 weeks.
Oh wow!
So, and he would come to the studio every time, and I think Where Your Skills At might have been the first song we recorded with him. But, like, every time he would come to the studio after we would do a song with him, he had a pattern of his beat tape where, like, he would have, like, the even number 2, 4, 6, and 8. All of for some reason, after like maybe 2 or 3 tapes, I was like, yo, why is it that when you come in here, number 2 be dope, number 4 be dope, or number 6? And he's like, yo, because when y'all was picking the beats, it was those even numbers where I was like, all right, they seem to be picking those numbers. Let me do that on purpose. So I figured it out. I figured them out.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, we've had Sean J on the show. And I really like I think he and really the whole album really like that album captured like a more crisp sound, but I feel
Yeah,
like it was still rugged and raw at the same time, you know?
and it took a minute for it to grow on people because of people wanting it to be like the first one. But what that second record brought, even after we released it, was, and I'm gonna say this: when you listen to the raucous sound and you listen to Sound Bombing, that was, Body Rock. This is all Sean J. Period.
Yeah, right.
This is all after our album. So
Yep.
we knew working with Sean, this brother was coming in the studio with weather vanes for sounds, uh, grits in the salt shaker. He brought a weather vane to the studio. He returned to the wrong side. When you listen to that song, pay attention in the background. Is a train ride. He caught the
Huh.
train from Brooklyn, from his area, and rode the train all the way to Manhattan till he walked up in the studio and stopped, and then he played it. So all you hear the doo-doo, all the door, that's him on the train. This whole train ride to Manhattan. So when you listen to Return to the Wrong Side on That's Them, from the beginning of the song, he gets on the train, and when the song starts, he's a train ride
Ah,
from Brooklyn all the way to Manhattan.
that's dope. Which joint is that?
Return to the Wrong Side.
Return to the Wrong Side. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
I'm a
Sean was like
he,
pulling out all the stops. He was re-recording samples, and that's why he don't sample today, because
right,
he stopped doing that on the
right.
second album. And he was replaying things. He learned how to play music on that second album, where he was like, "Yo, I'm not sampling, but I will replay it." And I was like, "Cool." So like he had the beats that he made were so inventive and new, as far as the sounds that he was
Yeah.
using. It was sort of like how Dilla did with Q-Tip and them, and on
Mhm.
Beat Rhymes of Life, but
Right.
it was new. But what
Right.
happened to be new happened to be the new sound to go forward. It just so happened we tried it on our record, and after the fact, and then like I listened to that record. I kind of feel like we was a step ahead
Yeah.
of ourselves with the because like you said, sonically, that record, Sean J. Period and Duro, my man Duro mixed that record so beautifully.
Yeah,
Like
he did.
I'm proud of that record. Like despite us, getting off Atlantic after that, we left with a bang.
Yeah, that is a dope album. I actually like that album more than the debut album. Do you get a sense of like fans which album they like more, or is it
Now,
kind of a
now,
mixed bag?
now, later on, after the fact, yeah,
Yeah,
I have more people come to me saying they like the second one,
yeah,
sound wise and beat wise, a little bit more, because it was so tighter and crispier. Just Lord Jamar and Lord Finesse on the record. We had flashes of where it was like the first one, but because of the way it sounded, it was so here
yeah,
with it. It
right.
was like, okay, this is a different record than the first one.
So I wanted to ask you about that song, collaboration of Mike's. This is
Right.
kind of a geek out question, but there's a very specific formula of who goes when on that record. If you remember,
Mhm.
was
Yes.
that planned out? How?
Yeah.
Because it's yeah, okay, man. I love
Because
how
when
y'all did that.
it's four people, we was like, damn, okay. In the beginning, it was only supposed to be me, Finesse, and Tame. And there's another version to that song that I have that I ain't really that nobody here ever. I probably won't. But it's a version with me and Tame just rocking on it. And Finesse was like, yo, y'all trying to murder me in here right now. Like, yo, I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna write some joints. I'm gonna write my verse at home because I ain't trying to write it right here. Like, I bet. So I called Lord Jamar, like, yo, look, because what people don't know, Lord Jamar produced the original version of Wrong Side of the Tracks. If you go on YouTube and you put in Artifacts demo, you will hear James Brown sample come on and Lord Jamar talking, and he's going to be singing the hook for Wrong Side of the Tracks. So when we
Oh,
first got to be with Brand Nubian, that's how I start. We was in Sadat's crib, and Jamar asked me and Tame in Sadat basement, like, yo, so like, what are y'all about? What, tell me. So we told him like, yo, we b-boys, we still do graffiti, da 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 da. So he's like, okay, write about that. And right in X basement, we wrote Wrong Side, And Jamar, only thing different with the way he was saying the hook, he's saying all the facts from the wrong fucking side. So the label was like, yo, y'all can't say fucking, y'all can't say that. So just change that up. Right. And we couldn't get Jamar to do the hook on the wrong side of the tracks, today, because they was on the road, so we couldn't get him to do the hook for the song. But like collaboration of mics, when we went to the studio, I'm gonna just set it up for you.
Yeah, please.
We in the studio room. Finesse, Marky at the time was with him. But like, like everybody came. Fat Joe came, Showbiz came, and some of Fat Joe boys. Some big dude came in there. Chaos was about to start doing some beginning cuts, and he got through the first bracket of like maybe 8 bars in the beginning. And Joe was like, "Yo, my man right here gonna DJ." We turned around, we saw this big dude. I'm like, "Yo, yeah, my DJ here." He's like, "Yeah, I got it." So I was like, "Okay, I can't say no to this big dude about to come over to the turntable." But my man started cutting. The cut you hear on the record, when he started cutting, I was like, "Shit, I ain't saying nothing. Do your thing, homie. Go ahead." So like everybody was in the room, and we was like still writing with all these people in the room, all this energy, and that shit came out like that. I was like, but we still had to figure out how 4 people gonna split 16s.
Right.
So I was like, we had straight odd numbers for the coming in and out, like it'd be 4, 8, 12. So we just made sure that everybody had ample time on the mic to actually get off what they needed to say. But that day, and I'll never forget that studio session, because Joe was like organizing everything in the beginning. Like, yo, he gonna go here, you gonna go. I was like, yo, this is like a dream. So like that was a good thing. We got DITC, it's affiliated ties heavy.
That's dope. That's super dope. I love all the verses, but that first verse where it's everyone 4x4, man, just the way you trade it off, lovely. All right, yeah, man, we want to go to some questions from people that are tuning in. Our man Lex, he says, what kept Jersey, especially 90s Newark, New Jersey artists, from doing a large collective track? We never got an Artifact, Redman, Naughty, Queen Latifah track.
You know what? That's a good question, Lex, because I can't answer it. I will say this though. I will say this. I would chalk that up to, so like us being from Jersey, we all, when we came out, was trying to impress New York. And not say so much the world, but the world to us was New York. And, we were trying to like break through anytime we got an opportunity. And this is every artist. I don't care if it's Outsiders, Radiga, Redman, everybody from here. Once we got the stamp of approval from New York, you was on your own shit. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like you wasn't thinking about home, but once you get that go and that stamp, you try to make the most of it. And everybody did. But we never thought to like probably do something together, because we never was like able to get even a tour right now today. These same people you named, we could go on tour right now, but because of different levels of everybody, we would have to situate that and far as like everybody's wanting to have the treatment they need to go on it. So it was the same thing with the music. It wasn't that, I think we probably wasn't thinking about it like that, because like I said, you come out, you on your way. And then when we collectively, we all know each other. But I will say this, over the years, I can attest to say that I've done songs with Tretch, couple of them. I've done something, me and Do It All, got a couple of songs together. So over the years, we've recognized that, to know that, we missed out a lot on that, where even a lot of New York cats didn't get to do that until later, when they started figuring out, like, with these labels, let's get them to pay us money to be on each other's records, and we can still eat. And cats figured out later that, the collaborations, work, whether, is New Jersey MCs together or New Jersey and New York MCs. But That was a good question, but we figured it out later, but it didn't happen in the way of like say like big records coming out where we probably when all at our height would have probably been a dope thing to do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, next question is from our guy Coop Art, who's always tuning in. Shout out to you, Coop. He was wondering if you could share a little bit about that early tour. That was the Artifacts, Common, Peanuts, Organized Confusion, I think. I'm
Yeah,
not sure if I'm forgetting anyone, but yeah, can you talk about that tour a little bit?
best of the underground tour,
Best of
man.
the Underground. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, we got through. All right, me and Tane, we got through most of the tour. For, we had an accident on the tour. We had like an Aerostar van, like B Nuts and Common and them had like a customized van. So they shit was more built to move around more than ours. But we went as far as Atlanta and maybe say Pensacola, Florida. And we had to quit the tour because the booking agent dude wasn't being understanding to what I told him we needed. And it wasn't like we had a label rep with us. We was raw dogging it by ourselves. I'm driving. My man was driving. We even Rock Raider was with us in the beginning. So Raider had to quit the tour because he had to do the DMC battles and execution and stuff. And we yeah, like they had to put other people in place of us. So some shows it was Boogie Monsters, some shows it was Trouble Neck Brothers. Respect to them, they're my dudes.
Yeah.
But yeah, when we did do the shows, like we did a lot of the East Coast shows, and we did shows in like maybe like Detroit, Chicago, but like we didn't get to finish the whole thing. So they did Texas and all of the West Coast and up to Canada and Colorado, everything. But that was a dope tour because like you got to understand, it was like all of us when all our albums was out. Organized Confusion album out, Stress, all that out. Artifacts first album, Common Resurrection album, B Nuts, you know, Intoxicated Demons, all this stuff was we were on tour. Imagine this today, us we was in mad cities. But for me, the best part of the show for me was watching Mr. Sinister DJ for Beat Nuts and Rock Raider DJ for us. Sometimes I was forgetting that he was DJing for us because I saw Raider do shit I'd never seen the DJ do. Like in a lot of the shows we were doing live, I was like, wow, this motherfucker. And that's why I understood why he was going to win that DMC battle.
Right.
But those shows was electric because, like, you know, as a fan of these cats, I found myself in front of the crowd with the fans too. Like, yeah, this my shit, right? So, you know, I mean, like that was like, you know, earlier in our career where we were all still, you know, trying to figure everything out. So when I see what the Common is now, and I see Monch, you know, his solo career, how that turned out, you know, B Nuts still out there working lessons in LA DJing. So it's like I will never forget those times. But anybody that saw those shows, let the world know how those shows was if you attended any of those shows, because we did one. Okay, dope. We did one in New York at the Limelight. It was the Limelight is a church, but it was a weird church in New York. It was weird, bro. But the show was huge. Like, and New York got to see what we were doing on the road. So like, I never been on another tour other like that. So that was like a dream.
Man, I would love a part 2 of that tour.
Yeah, I would too right now.
That'd be dope. It'd be dope to have the same lineup too, man. Man, that would be incredible.
Yeah. I think Common to come out for something like that.
I think so. So Almas is wanting to know, do you remember when the fight broke out at the show in Chicago?
Okay, so that show we wasn't there.
It was during Common set. Oh, you
were
at the Chicago show.
I remember. I heard about it. I heard he was on stage, and like, yo, I've been in Chicago doing shows. Them dudes throw up sets when you on stage, bro. So they were doing that to him. I heard he was getting mad, and I heard he actually like either hit dude in the head with the mic or jumped out there, one or the other. That happened. That happened.
I think Almas is shaking his head and
you know.
Yeah. He knows. He said he was there. Yeah.
Okay.
He saw
it.
I was
mad. I was mad we couldn't be there at that show, man.
Was that after the bus broke down, or had the?
Yeah. It was definitely after that. I'm trying to think who they put in that show other than us. I think Trouble Neck might have been there, or Boogie Monsters.
Boogie Mon, yeah. Almas said he was mad too that y'all weren't.
Yeah. Hey, look. I met the dudes that booked that show, and they was hot, like yo. But I told them what happened, and like yo, the rest of the tour, because even the booking agent told me we had beef after that, but he told me like yo, you don't realize how many people was there to just see you and Tame, you know, and that
Yeah.
tour. Like, so I was tight about that. I was mad. You know, I kind of ran into a few other promoters that booked that tour too. You know, and they said the same thing, like, yo, we really just wanted to see y'all. Like I know everybody was on it, but it was like at the height of y'all career where a lot of people was wanting to see y'all.
Yeah, yeah. Cool. You're checking out the Boom Bap Chat number 107 with Elder Sensei, having a great conversation about you know, old times tours, their classic albums, the Artifacts albums. I want to shift the gears a little bit, just have some fun questions here. We always ask our guests a few fun questions. So the first one, we got 3 tonight. First one, they're all what questions. So first
Okay.
one is, what's something, and this has nothing to do with anything, but what's something that you could eat for breakfast every day and not get tired of it?
Not get tired of it. I mean, eggs maybe, because you can eat them different ways.
There you go. Yeah, good answer. All right, next question. What's your favorite non-hip hop album?
Not hip hop. All right, so yo, I'm a deep R&B fan.
Okay.
80s, 90s, you know. So I would say Loose Ends, Zaragoza album.
All right, right on, right on. And last question here. What's the first thing you would change about hip hop today if you could change anything? Or
Wow.
would you? Maybe you wouldn't change anything.
Nah, well, okay. If I could Thanos snap my fingers, I would want all the youth today to know all the things we know about the past. It's like almost like if they went to school, but like it was like the Matrix. You know, you got to go in the telephone booth and learn. I need to learn how to fly this helicopter.
Right.
Boom. Okay, now you can fly the helicopter. I need everybody to learn hip hop in that way, to where maybe today's people will understand and even for my generation to wait for them to come to where they will understand why the older dudes feel the way they feel and why they hear the things they hear. Because maybe as an adult, we don't feel like the youth care too much about our past. But it's funny because it's like school when people don't like history class, and whether they have to, when February comes and you got to learn about Black history. If you're not Black, you got to learn about it because you don't know it. Just as much as when we in school, we got to read these books and learn about history from the past because you have no future without a past.
Right.
So this is the thing that, and it's funny because I would say this is the first time ever we have older people and younger people in hip hop, not say competing, but like in it all together. So you got youth, you got elders, and you got super elders that's still out there working, getting opportunities more than they did in the past, where people are now giving these people their flowers and adding them onto the award shows where they can host, and you know, so we're trying.
Yeah.
I would say the industry is trying, the culture is trying, but I would say it's not fast enough. So like if I could instantly give people knowledge the way they can say, oh shit, okay, now I understand why you feel like this person, it should be more in, you know, seen than this person. You know, it's about being fair. But I think with the knowledge, people will probably be like, all right, good. I understand, old man, where you coming from.
Right.
Because they ain't like how it used to be.
And just like things that you said earlier that people I don't think have put together in their minds, like with your second album and how that kind of maybe not ushered in, but definitely influenced that whole raucous sound with Sean J. Period, and like how that album was ahead of its time. Like just those like subtle things, I think, you know, people would grow more of an appreciation, you know, if nothing else, you know.
And that, I think also with being out in the world doing shows, like I've done shows where, you know, I love when it be just only young dudes, young people. I've done shows because these young dudes listen to my music, and when they see me, they're like, okay, he got great hair, but he don't dress like older dude. Like I don't guess because I'm 50 something, they think I'm supposed to be in Bill Cosby sweater or like some loafers or some monarchs or some shit like that. And I show up at the show, I'm loaded up and got Jordans. I look like them. So they kind of confused. Then they hear the songs and they hear the beats, and because it's kind of geared toward like them and working with say young producers or people that they might know, heard of, and then you work with them, so they be like, oh, okay, wow, like so. But when these people don't know you and they meet you in person, they probably say they heard of you. I was in New Mexico, did a show. All the young dudes that went up there before me, all of their songs. I mean, this is in sound check. I'm listening to them. It's so depressing. The stuff they were talking about, it was drugs involved, induced, just depressed, sad. I'm like, damn, like, and these dudes is like 18 to 26, and I'm the oldest one in the building. I'm like, I'm listening to them. And then when it got time for me to perform, it got like where I seen it was filled up. I said, this is my chance. I told dude, let me go now. Because they're going to keep going. I don't want to go last. Let me go now. And they was all in the building. So like after the show was over, they were like, yo, how was you able to stay up there for like 45 minutes and not run out of breath? It looked like you was having a lot of fun up there. Like, what is that like? I said, y'all got to get it together, little brothers. Come on, man. Like, this is about fun. You rhyming on that stage is about having fun, not like you take a break from your life to go up there to say what you got to say. So, like, I think if they understand that more rather than trying to get the bag and concentrate on your craft, no, they don't have no A&Rs today to usher them into this. So they're learning just by going about how they're going. So when we came out, we had somebody that knew more than we did that tell us and guide us to where we needed to go. No different when they was like, who y'all want to work with? And because we knew people, they was like, look, this is a label thing now. Y'all can't just say that. Y'all gonna work with these people and this how much money you got to do this. So that ain't been taught to none of these cats today. So that's why the music sound like that. That's why they don't know about the culture. That's why we clash with them. And until that part is bridged and they'll understand where we coming from, but we already understand where they coming from. They trying to get that back. And they don't care about the music.
This might be a good segue for Iomas Marad's question here. He wanted to know, do you see a difference or is there a difference in your mind between rap music and hip hop?
Yeah, because sometimes rap music is on the radio. Rap music is on TV. Rap music isn't hip hop because even as a youth, we understood what was the difference between rap and hip hop, rather to say it became mainstream and underground. And that's when we knew the difference when all of your favorite artists, is like how with football teams, you have to have a transition where the older players go to other teams and get traded and their production go down and they get traded. Whereas like to say, we have to usher in the new. We have to usher in the new. You can still play as an older artist or as an artist who's not, say, making the radio song. You know what I'm saying? These are choices. These are choices you make in your career where you say, if you want to do the underground route, you're going to stay there because you know what it's going to get you. But this is where I go back to you being successful. Just because you can't do what everybody else do, don't mean you won't be successful. That route that some people take, sacrifice everything that they've ever became before they got into the mainstream. And then you got some that been in the underground for a long time that feel like, they one song away from making that hit song that might be in the mainstream a little bit, but still in the way they want to do it, in the way where back in when we came out, we felt like we had to make anthems. Everybody's songs was big and loud. What's the scenario? Onyx. Everything was, you scream the hook because you were trying to get that message in the people's head that was buying these records. So because you knew that's how you move, but you didn't want to sacrifice so much where you make a song where you're like, I don't know about that one. And that would be for the underground artist. Once he do that and sacrifice that, that could be over for him. Where the mainstream artists going to keep making songs like that, where they might go away, but they have an opportunity more than the underground artists to make the song that'll bring them back.
Right. Yeah. So Iomas was saying it makes him upset when they put everything under that hip hop title. Is it the same for you? Do you get frustrated
Yeah,
with that?
you know, because it's like when you see the award shows, they're rap categories. They're not hip hop categories.
Mm,
Like hip hop category, you know what that means. So like when you see Nas this year on the Grammys get his flowers, everybody was happy. That's that's the difference right there. It took that man 30 years and he didn't compromise at all. He might have had a few records that was like, whatever, but throughout that, lyrically, Nas didn't change. Even
right.
today, we might not like all of the Hit Boy stuff, but he giving the people today himself just as much as he gave himself to us in the past. So like, but when I seen that, that was a perfect example of hip hop culture in a mainstream setting where even the people who didn't even know about him appreciated it because they said, "Damn, this me." If you never knew us Nas song that night when he was dressed up in that suit,
Uh-huh.
you knew what it was after you left because he was doing all the prior songs before he got
Yeah.
to the ones that they may know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That was a dope performance. I like how you
Dope
did
moment.
that. Yeah.
Dope moment.
One more question here, or a couple more from some of our viewers. Back to Lex. He said, "What newer Jersey acts would you recommend that we check out
Today,
today? Do you follow any newer acts from Jersey?"
it's not a lot. Is in my hood is 050 Boys. Definitely check them out. My man, my man Big Joker, he worked with me. He's gonna be coming soon. My man Drift. Now Drift Kojo, he been rocking for a minute. My man is a beast, still on the mic. And hey, guess what? Redman, Muddy Waters 2 coming.
Yeah, coming out. Yeah.
Tretch is performing August 4th down here at the Jersey Pack. You know, we all still we're active. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, even if it's not a lot of new people, Rod Digger's still out there. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
Lakim Shabazz is still a staple in the neighborhood, in the hood. You know, but it's not as many newer people as it used to be. I would say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I would say that big time.
Cool. Just a few more comments here from some of our viewers. Shout out to Marcus. Says, "Why does it feel like rap hip hop is the only genre where the artist has an expiration date?" I don't even feel that anymore. Like I just feel like, if you're around and you're rocking, I'm gonna support it.
I say this. I understand what you're talking about. It's true. Because I just seen some shit about the Rolling Stones and they on tour again.
Yeah.
And people do not bother them old dudes. They let them go out there, rock out on stage. They sell out they crowds and they still in arenas. Why the hell we can't do the same thing? You know why?
Right.
Because as a culture and as a hip hop culture, as I don't know what it is. Hip hop is not a young man's game. I want y'all to know that. Chuck D still make records. He been making
Yeah.
records for over 40 years, man. Like Big Daddy Kane still on stage. You know, G Rap still can spit niggas out of the box. So it's like when you know these things exist, you know, it's hard to kind of deny all this stuff. You know, I try to remind people that like, you know, you got guys that's now like CEOs, like Chuck run radio stations and labels to where, you know, he's
Yeah.
able to even do the same for people that he, you know, right now he put out a record with Stetson Sonic, Chill Rob G. You know, this is a testament to, you know, what is supposed to be done. And I might be like drifting off the subject a little bit.
That's all right. You can drift. And speaking of drift, Lex says drift is a beast. You mentioned that
Yes, yes.
MC earlier. So yeah, he
My
knows
man
drift.
Wisecrackers out there. See, you know, when I'm on the spot, I forget a little people some. But say that question to me one more time because I want to answer it the right way.
Yeah,
Last
yeah.
one.
What he just said, why does it feel like rap hip hop is the only genre
All right, yeah.
where the
So
artist has
like
an expiration
we
date?
treat our music like a pair of sneakers. When they get old, we throw them in the closet,
Yeah.
and then we go out and buy a new pair. And that's not fair to your sneakers that's in the closet. That if you take care of them, you can continue to rock them.
Yeah.
And for the older artists, it's really still about making that hot record.
Yeah.
You make that hot record, you stay relevant. You'll stay in people's minds. You'll stay fresh. It's about keeping your brand up. You know, and it's no time limit on style. There's
Yeah.
no time limit on greatness. If you're still
Right.
able to go out there and make good records, people should be. And it's like when hip hop cats get older, fan wise, they seem to actually, well, how do you get this? Or how do you like, yo, it's called the internet. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right. Yeah.
everything is on there. There's no
Yep.
way you can't tell me. They be like, yo, such and such, they made a record in a long time. No, he just made one last year. Cause your ass is out of the loop. Don't mean, that people ain't working.
Right.
It's also, this is also up to the fans. The
Right.
fans, if
Yep.
y'all follow certain artists, guess what? They still make records.
Yep.
They still make records. Just go on your favorite blog site. I don't care if it's Hip Hop DX. Numerous radio stations on Sirius that's playing these records. Rock the
Right.
Bells LL is no excuse for nobody to say that they don't know about a lot of these records that come out. Because
Yeah.
if you following Griselda, you can follow your other artists too. Because
Yeah.
they still spitting the same way, just like them. It's just that y'all not. Billy Dance just put out a whole project. I mean,
Yeah.
like
That was a dope joint too.
music is there.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. 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 One more question here before we go into your new music from Io Mas. He was wondering. He said that Brick City is one of his favorite series. Have you seen this series, Brick City?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was
I know it's
wondering.
like, yo, my man, the dude that was on that show got killed.
Oh, like in real life.
Yes.
Dang.
You remember when the dude I was seeing the mayor, when he was talking to the mayor in Newark and everything, this was like, homeboy was really trying to get it together. They killed him.
Wow.
The dude that in that documentary.
That's terrible. That's
Yep.
terrible. So Io Mas was wondering, what you thought about the series, if you thought it was authentic. Is it Hollywood? Just your
No,
thoughts
it
on it.
wasn't Hollywood at all. It was actually, for this guy to be gone, that was all real. And it was a time, even around where I live at, where like it was a lot of gang activity, a lot of bloods, a lot more bloods around here than Crips.
Yeah.
So like
No.
that wave is not like that now, but that wave, man, now we just got a lot of kids out here on the street that's just off of themselves. Not so much
Man.
a gang thing, but it's still like that too, But
Yeah.
it's just now it's just I'm clueless of what these dudes really want to do right with themselves. But
Yeah.
if we watch the news, we see it.
Yeah. We see it. That's true. Well, maybe they need some new inspiration, some new music. So I want to talk about your new music coming out. No
Okay.
Expiration Date, Artifacts album,
Mm-hmm.
produced by Buckwild.
Yeah.
I'm super excited about this. I know like it was hinted a while ago. I saw the pre-order picture you put up a few days ago. What can you
Yeah.
tell us about this album? Because I'm dying to know more about it, when it's coming, just the process, just anything you can share about this album.
Okay. This album is for you, you, and you and you. So like for anybody that's right now missing scratches in songs,
Yeah.
DJing in songs, I mean like straight. I don't want to say this like this, but this is what everybody made it to be. I always consider hip hop underground as my way of what I want to call it, underground.
Yeah.
But today people will call it boom bap, and if that's what you want to call it, fine. But if that's what you miss, it's going to be on this record.
Okay.
We have only 2 guests on the record, and that's Razzcast and my man Afro. Afro's on the joint with us.
Oh, dope.
I told Tame, let's just really give people us. We can't have a bunch of guests. We got 10 songs on this album. Like you said, all DITC produced. There are flashes of time warp, multiverse, variant
Yeah.
stuff that's gonna happen with this record. And I will hope mentally when the first song drop, it will put people in the place of where you could remember when you first started smoking weed back in the 90s and you was going to concerts and shows where, and every week you bought a record that you was putting in your collection. This is that time again, and this is like me and Tame gonna make more records after this one, including with Buck. But like, we would hope that people, when they hear this record, just, the bars are there. And this is not even to blow me and Tame horn or nothing like that. But like, we felt excited making this record because we knew the nostalgia that was going to come with it, just for people seeing the names on the records as far as like us and Buckwild. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Buck lives in New Jersey. And
Okay.
it was easy for us to get in contact with him and him to come to the crib. We recorded every vocal in my house. My man Jake Palumbo, he mixed this whole record.
Nice.
And my man in Germany, Max, he mastered this record. You know, we really took it upon ourselves to say, you know, it wasn't too hard to make a record like this. But like my man said when he heard it, he said, no, y'all made a record like this in 2022.
Man, I
So
cannot wait.
and I'm just hoping that when everybody get this, they just, you know, whatever you feeling inside, like, oh, I hope these motherfuckers sound like back in the day. Yeah, it's there. It's there. Y'all can take in, you know, take in silence that it's gonna be exactly what you expect it to be. It's gonna be just like that.
So no expiration date. Is there a date for the album?
Yes, August 20th.
Oh, that's sooner than I thought. All
Yes,
right.
August. Yes, and this record was supposed to come out last April. We had a few issues with the pressing plant. We had to go to another pressing plant. That made us have to wait 9 months because we were a new client. So then the
Man.
COVID happened, and that shit fucked up a lot of stuff. But it's here now. You know, I was even like you when dude told me that August 20th. I'm like, you sure? Don't make me say this to people, and you know, because I had a couple of people trolling me. This one guy was just like, I don't know who he was, but he never had a picture on there. He always had numbers at the end of his name, and he would just come in a different way. And I was just like, yo, dude, like you keep bothering me. That must mean you waiting for it just like everybody else. So don't get mad.
Man.
So people waited for a minute. So August 20th, we're gonna have color vinyl, yellow color vinyl.
Okay.
We're gonna have black vinyl. We're gonna have 150 CD copies of this album, but the cover. I've never seen this before. Like a CD cover that's like velvet velour cover stomp. You know,
Awesome.
you know, yeah. So it's like really plush. So it's gonna be 150 of those. So they hopefully will go fast. But we're gonna have cassettes. We're gonna have CDs other than the plush kind, and we definitely gonna have vinyl. You know, we're gonna depending on how fast this record sells is when we re-up on the next bunch of records. So I'm challenging everybody out there. If this is not, you know, this is a goal. I mean, like 1,000 records, y'all. We got 1,000 records pressed up. We need 1,000 of y'all to come out that day and storm the online stores and get as many copies as y'all feel y'all need. DJs, get your doubles, quadruples, because it's going to be black and yellow. So, you know, this is a collector's piece, and we trying to make this real special in tradition for DJ Chaos. Rest in peace. You know, thank my girl Ricky 400 for doing the artwork. My man DJ AB did the layout, and you know, everybody that's involved in this, I think. And we just hopefully, man, this is just definitely something everybody waiting for.
Yeah, man. I love that DJ Chaos is right there front and center.
Yes,
On
yes.
the cover. I think that's
she asked me like, "What you want to do?" I gave her one picture, and I gave her a picture of Buck. And when she sent it to me, it was looking like that. I was like, "Oh my god!" I ain't gonna lie, I shed a tear.
Yeah, yeah, I understand that. I see the pre-order vinyl coming soon. Is there a pre-order for the CD, or is that's still coming?
Yeah, but all of that's gonna come at the same time. For the pre-order date is on smokeonrecords.com. Everybody can go on smokeonrecords.com and you'll see the record up there. It says coming soon, but the date will be posted as well, and everybody gonna get it at the same time. But for right now, you can go to goonsgear.com. Snow Goons out in Germany, they have it on their site. The yellow one might be gone. I don't know, because I know a couple of people told me they went on their site and the yellow one is done. So they all on the black one.
Okay.
But you will be able to go to smokeonrecords.com and you can order from there as well.
Yeah, dope. So make sure you do that. No expiration date coming out a week after. Man, August is gonna be a dope month because Black Thought has a new album coming out the Friday before.
Yes, sir.
Drop. So that's just gonna be a wonderful month for everybody that loves hip hop. Speaking of love and hip hop, I want to go out tonight on celebrating some albums that I know you love with a little game we call One Word. So I'm gonna flash the album cover, say the title, and if you could just figure out what this album means to you or describe it using one word or less, that's the game. All right, you ready to go?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, first album here we got Business as Usual by EPMD.
Right. Artwork. I'm gonna say that one word. Artwork. That album cover alone. So
Yeah.
if you're into artwork like me, Bill Sienkiewicz drew that artwork right there on that cover. He is a prolific, still to this day, Marvel Comics artist, and Bill did that cover and the inside and out. And when I saw that, it blew my mind. So like, yeah, artwork for that one.
Yeah. And I love the cover looking at it now because it's like the more things change, the more things stay the same. You know?
Yeah, man.
This
I
was back in
couldn't
the
fathom
80s,
EPMD in a comic book looking
92.
style.
Yeah. Right. All right, next one. Oh man, I love this album. All right. This is 21 and Over by the
Woo!
Alcoholics.
Okay. What word can I use for that? I could say fun, but like
that's a good one.
That album was for me. Yeah, it was fun. It was a fun album. You know what I'm saying? Like, and actually, Taj was the first MC I met when I got to Cali.
Dope.
So I understood why the record sounded like that when I met him.
That's dope. How were they like in person?
Nah, yo, they fun. It's fun dudes, man. Like, yo,
Yeah.
like I met both of them. J Ro is my man. I met them all at the same time. But Taj, I hung out with him. Salute to Mona Lisa in L.A. You know, when we first came out there, she knew I was a fan of them. So she's like, yo, you want to go meet Taj? I was like, who? From the Links? She's like, yeah. What now? Like, come on. I went over there. Me and this dude hung out the whole night, just smoking bud and shit, like just talking about hip hop. And then he been my friend ever since then.
Man, that's dope. All right. This next album, if you're watching, I want you to watch for Almas Marad's reaction when I put this album up. All right. This is One for All by Brand New. It's kind of choppy, but I knew you'd love that.
All right. One word, learn. We learned a lot from Brand New, me and Tame. You know, we met them in 1990 at the State Building in Harlem. We went to that building just to see them perform. We didn't care who else was performing. And when they was doing them, Drop the Bomb, we were the only ones in the crowd knew the words. All Feel So Good. That was all that was out. So when they got off the stage, I was like, fuck that. I'm going to say something. They came over where we was at. Trust me, I got arrested that day and everything to get there in New York, to get there to see them. And we made it. And when I had my chance, I just put the headphones on Jamar. Like, yo, this me and my man, Tame right here. And he listened for like a good 5 minutes. I wrote my phone number down, and 2 weeks later, he called me. And that's how we became friends with them, just taking a chance. Dudes from New Jersey.
That's dope. I love that. All right. Next one, Mecca and the Soul Brother by Pete Rock and CL Smooth.
Well, I'm guilty. Pete Rock is definitely one of my favorite producers.
Same.
And ever in the world. You know, and that record for me, in one word, phenomenal. Yeah, that record changed my life on how I understood how songs were made, not just beats, but like songs. They do that songs on that record that to this day, I mean, like, and them to be in the group no more. You know, that was magic in that record.
Did you? I'm gonna put up some comments that people are making about this. But did Pete Rock? Did you ever do a joint with Pete Rock?
No, but I told his ass before I die, I will. I will do one before I die. Look, we was both drunk when I said that to him. He was like, L. I was like, no. I bent down, got in his face. I'm gonna do a song with you, bro, before I'm gone. So like, that Grapp, his brother, that's my man. Me and Grapp got a good relationship. So I told Pete in Philly, like, look, I'll be chilling with your brother more than you. So like, but it's gonna happen. I feel it, you know. Give it a little bit more time. It might just happen.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I hope to see that, man. I would love to see an entire either Artifacts album or
Pete Rock album.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Put it in the universe. There you go.
Next one. So Otis got scratched up. Look at that right there, man. The sun rises in the east by J. Rue the Damager.
Word up. J. Rue. That record, I know back and forth, all the words. Oh man, like what one word can I use for that? Epic. All right, I can say epic for that. Because when you listen to a lot of those beats Primo made for him, he used a lot of break beats on that record. I felt like he was trying to prove a point when he did that. And like when you listen to a lot of those records, it was like he was taking sound that was already used, but like like those beats he gave J. Rue, he never gave nobody else beats like that ever. No, like so that record was special for Jay. I felt like he made those beats just for him.
Yeah. Speaking of Premier, next album is Daily Operation by Gangstar.
Yep. I would say for that one, damn. Oh man. Cause like for that record right there, I used to sit down and just look at that cover.
Yeah.
Same. And even looking at it now, that's the way it looked. Guru for me was like a messenger in a way where, damn, if I could use one word, it just voice. You know, for that record, you know, like that record, the track listing was crazy. You know, I thought Hard to Earn was hard to top Daily Operation. Hard to Earn almost did that, but that record introduced us to Little Dap and them and J. Rue. So like that was when I felt like Gangstar as a whole, I knew who they were as a whole, and not just the two MC, the MC and the producer. They that right there pretty much introduced them as a crew. Gangstar Foundation.
Yeah.
And everything else spawned from that record. Group Home, Suge, J. Rue. So yeah, that was important.
Yeah, definitely classic, Marcus. I agree. All right, next one. This is Diamond and the Psychotic Neurotics right there.
Yeah.
Blunt Stunts and Hip Hop.
Yeah, and that record in one word, the Bronx music.
Bronx, okay.
Bronx music. You know what I'm saying? Diamond is my friend now too. You know, being a fan of that record, he became my friend. Diamond taught me a lot. You know, even just to be straightforward in what you want and in your sound. You know, he took me and Chaos, my man P Original, rest in peace to both of them. He befriended us at a time where, you know, I probably needed that. But with that record right there, that record to me, with Diamond, knowing he was a DJ and a producer, and to hear him rhyme on those records for the first time, that was different because it was like, other than Pete Rock, Diamond was more like, he sounded like more like an MC than an MC producer. And he was comfortable over his rhyming over his beats, and he sounded like it.
Yeah,
you know, that's why it sounded like somebody was making the beats for him, but he was doing it for himself. So he was comfortable on a lot of those songs, and that record introduced me to, you know, DITC and the whole, where like if you fuck with AG and Showbiz, you had to fuck with that.
Yeah, definitely. All right, last one. We bringing it back to the hometown, the home city. We got There's a Dark Side.
Yeah.
Redman.
Hey, yo. Okay. Redman, my man Reggie Noble hate that record.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna let y'all know, whoever watching, Reggie hates that record because he said he don't remember shit about that record because he was so high when he did it.
Right. Yeah.
But I tell him all the time. He said, yo, L, man, everybody like that record like that though. I think you like that record like that too. You just don't want to admit it. But that record was like a long ass mixtape. If you look at how all those songs came on compared to all his other records, when you listen to Muddy Waters and you listen to the album, that record was like, he was just in the studio, bang, bang, song. And they just like, okay, you know what? Guess what? We have no track list formula. We just gonna go. And those shit, it's coming on, but there was bangers. All of them was bangers. It was not a lot of structure in that record, but it was a lot of hits from that record too. That like he don't want to admit that, you know, kind of like made him, because after that record, that's when Funkorama came out after that. So like, you know, Reggie showed his ass on that record, where lyrically, on that record, lyrically, my man was out of space. but under control at the same time.
Yeah.
So that made for the record to be so ill.
Yeah, I actually think this is his best album. So I agree with you on it because I feel like Muddy Waters, even though I like Muddy Waters better in some ways, I feel like Muddy Waters, like the production on it, like it was more smooth and like
Right. It was it
chilled
was
and
it was
laid
it was
back,
structured. It was
which was
structured
cool. It
because
was
of that
cool.
record. Muddy Waters sound like that because of that record.
Yeah, but this album, like, it sounds more dark. Like the bass lines are a little bit crunchier and thicker. And
Yeah.
Redman's voice, just like, I don't know, and just where I guess where he was and the things he was rhyming, like I feel like it's a more cohesive,
Yeah.
project. So I always thought this was his best
I would
album.
say that's the most him album.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, right on. Cool. Well, that is all the albums I have. Thank you for playing along at One Word.
No doubt, no doubt, no
Today.
doubt.
Appreciate it. Listen, the last thing we always do in our interviews is we give shout outs. So Iomas, I can read your shout outs if you want. You can try to come on and say it. We've been having technical difficulties all night with Iomas Murad. But if you want to throw some shout outs in the chat.
He
I'll
did
read them
good.
out.
He did good as far as the way for his mic not working though.
That's right. Yeah, definitely. Well, Almas types in some of those. I just want, and I'll give some shout outs and then I'll pass it over to you, Elder Sensei, and you can take us on out of here. But yeah, I want to shout out Jungle Brothers, Mike G of the Jungle Brothers, because he is going to be our guest in 2 weeks. So super excited. Huge Native Tongues. Yeah, huge Native Tongues fan.
Hey, look, I could have put that album on there too.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, definitely. Also want to shout out the Native Tongues in general. We have been writing about them for a minute. We got a new book called The Native Tongues Review. If you're watching right now, you can actually see it up in the corner by Elder Sensei's head up there. That's what the book looks like. The Native Tongues Review. Thanks everyone for buying it. If you haven't got your copy, you can do so at boombapreview.com or you can find it on Amazon. And last but not least, well, shout out to Profound, obviously, and his son having a good time celebrating the birthday. Shout out to Iomas Murad and the whole crew. And last but not least, definitely shout out the Artifacts. Shout out to rest in peace, obviously, to DJ Chaos. Shout out to Team One. And shout out to you, Elder Sensei. Thank you for, just remaining who you are, your authentic, dope, underground, boom bap self, and all the great music you've given us through the years. It's been an honor just chatting with you tonight. So shout out to you. Thank you for everything. And with that, I'll turn it over to you.
Man, it's been a pleasure.
I want to read Iomas. Iomas got some here. Sorry.
Well, he prepared his shout out. Go.
Yeah, he's right. Iomas and Murad said, shout out.
You ain't gonna leave me out.
Yeah, right. Shout out Elder Sensei, New York, New Jersey, my boom bap brothers and hip hop over rap music. I feel that. Shout out to Pro Junior on his born day. And Matthew Coop, we want to shout out him. And he says, shout out to L for doing this. So right on. All right, with that, now, Elder Sensei, I'll turn it over to you for the final shout outs.
Well, I want to shout out the Boom Bap Chat Show. Thanks y'all for having me. It's my pleasure to be here. I always tell people, anytime you get to do an interview, make it your most, because it's not a lot of time we get to get interviewed or even people care about doing it. So I appreciate y'all for having me on. I want to shout out my kids. My son's birthday is on Monday. My son Ellie, my oldest. So I'm preparing his day for him. I want to shout out to Tame One. I want to shout out DJ Chaos. I know you hear me. I ain't gonna forget you. My man Big Joker. Shout out to Buckwild. Shout out to Jake Palumbo. Shout out to my man Joey in Nuremberg, Germany. My man has dealt with me and my fiery self, just wanting this record to come out in the right way. I appreciate him. And my man, shout out to my man Neff in Staten Island. He about to shoot these videos. Shout out to everybody that's out there that ever bought an Artifacts record, listened to an Artifacts record, any of my solo records, Tame solo records, mixtapes, seen us at a show, met us in person. We're going to take another journey on this new album, and we're going to do it all over again, meet new people and meet the people we met already. Take this journey with us, y'all. We made this record for y'all. We made this record for us. We made this record for every person that has been waiting for Artifacts to put another record out for the last 25 damn years. We finally got one for you, man. So shout out to y'all. Shout out to the world.
Right on. Thank you. And with that note, we say peace.